Hey everyone, so this is part 2 on how you gotta prepare for your academic year. So if you haven't watched part 1, go watch part 1 and then come to part 2. And if you have watched part 1, welcome to part 2. Let's go to the video. How to actually go about completing your syllabus. Now, to go about completing your syllabus, there are two different ways. And the first way is called the teacher's flow, and the second way is called the Uncharted Territory. Yeah, I just made up the two names, guys. So what is the first way, the teacher's flow? Now, in the teacher's flow, what you got to do is you got to sit and you got to follow the way the teacher goes. So the teacher has her or his own way, own method of teaching. That he starts from the first chapter and ends in the last chapter. He suddenly starts from the middle of the syllabus, maybe the sixth chapter, and then he goes to the first chapter. Just go with the flow of how the teacher is teaching. Learn the chapters at a pace at what the teacher is teaching. Be a little forward, that's completely fine. If the teacher is doing the first lesson, the second concept, you can be in the sixth or the seventh concept, or hell, you can even be in the second lesson. Completely fine. But you're always referring to the teacher's methodology of completing the syllabus. Now what you got to do is every day you got to concentrate every day in class for just half of the class. So if your class is for 30 minutes, just concentrate for 15 minutes. When the teacher starts teaching, put the timer, just concentrate for 15 minutes, learn whatever she's teaching, try to understand whatever she's teaching, write down what you feel is important, what the teacher tells is important, and the concept you did not understand when the teacher taught you. So write all of them down on a notebook and listen to at least half of the class. Once you're done with listening half of the class, forget it. Like, do whatever you want. You want to think about dinosaurs, go think about dinosaurs. You want to daydream about RCB winning the IPL, Isala Cup namde, we are winning the IPL. You do whatever you want, but ensure that you listen to at least half of the class. Now once you finish for the day in school or college, you come back home and you go through these notes that you've made. You just brush through those topics that you just learned, and whichever you did not understand, you can just watch YouTube videos of those and you'll be good to go. And if you still could not understand that concept, go to the teacher the next day, talk to your teacher and learn from him or her. So that way you will be sorted. Now with this method, what's happening is you're completely committed to the teacher's route of completing the syllabus, which means you will be in pace with the teacher. You'll be able to solve your doubts real time, and you'll be scoring crazy numbers in your tests, because again, you're learning from the teacher's perspective, like you're learning with the teacher. And yeah, you don't need to put a lot of extra efforts because the teacher is doing the heavy work for you. But only thing, you gotta believe in your teacher and you gotta put that extra effort of completing that lesson even if you don't feel like completing. So that's the first method, the teacher's flow. Now what is the second method, the Uncharted Territory? Now what you do in the Uncharted Territory is you don't follow the teacher's roadmap of completing the syllabus. You choose your own roadmap, you make your own roadmap. If you are not comfortable with the first chapter, you go start with the sixth chapter or the seventh chapter, the chapter you're comfortable with. You don't want to start with what your teacher is teaching because you just don't feel like learning that chapter first. So you make your own roadmap, you make your own plan on how to finish the syllabus and you follow your plan. But also when you are in college or when you are in school, in the period, you still have to listen to at least half of the class. That way, you're also learning on your own, you're completing one set of chapters over here, but you're also listening to the different chapter that your teacher is teaching you, and you're learning bits and pieces over here. So that way, once you finish what you're doing over here, when you revisit this place where you're gonna learn for the first time by yourself, you already have an idea of that particular chapter and you already know a few concepts. That way, learning this gets way more easy than what you were doing over here. So this method will ensure that you are completely committed with learning these chapters. You'll finish this, and meanwhile, you'll also learn bits and pieces of what your teacher is teaching. This way, you're learning the syllabus in your terms and you're also learning it effectively because you're learning what the teacher is teaching, plus you're in your own roadmap. Now, obviously, you can ask all the doubts to your teacher of these lessons which she isn't covering. You can just tell her that I felt more comfortable learning this particular chapter. I got a little curious on learning this chapter. I thought of just checking what it is all about and got these doubts. Can you please teach me now? Or can you please help me with clarifying the doubt now? And you can do that. Now, one thing you might have an issue, you will have an issue with is, see, when the teachers are teaching you, they particularly tell you which concept is important for the exams, which concept can be omitted for exams. Now, when you're following an uncharted territory, you won't be able to get to know that because you're on your own path. Now, in cases like these, what you should do, whichever method you're following, what you need to do is, you need to take your previous year question papers. When you start that chapter, both the teacher's flow and the uncharted territory, you got to figure out which concept belongs to which chapter. And in this chapter, past 5 years question paper, what are the concepts that these people have asked? So you can analyze on which concept is important and which concept can be omitted. I'm talking to the uncharted territory. And once you figure out which concept is important, which concept is not important, you just go to your teacher, you be like, you show them, you show her or him the paper and be like, these are what I've understood, this is what I feel is important, this is what I feel is not important. Can you tell me if I've missed out something or if I've added something in the paper? That way your teacher will correct you, the teacher will tell you, and you're good to go. So this is the uncharted territory. Now you got to figure out which flow of completing the syllabus you want to go with. I've given you 2 options. What I would do personally is, for a few subjects I would go with the teacher's flow, and for a few subjects I would go with the uncharted territory, because that's how I feel I can optimize my timetable for the entire year more efficiently. Say for example, mathematics, I'm not comfortable learning online, I'm going to go with the teacher's flow. And say computer science, I'm very comfortable learning online by myself, I'm going to go with the uncharted territory. You need to figure out for yourself on which flow of syllabus you need to go. Now, how do you make a study roadmap for yourself? The first and the best and the easiest way is to just YouTube it. So just go to YouTube, search for CBSE Class 9 Mathematics Roadmap for the academic year, and you will get tons and tons of videos on how to go about the syllabus. And you can follow one method, or you can watch these 10 different videos, whichever method feels is best for you. Just follow that roadmap. And say you do not feel comfortable with any of the 10 strategies by 10 different YouTube videos, or you just don't have any such kind of video for your course, what you can do is you can follow this rule of thumb. And that rule of thumb is, you need to ensure that the most challenging chapter needs to be completed in 1.5 weeks, that is 9 days, and the easiest chapters need to be completed between 2 to 6 days. That way you can assume about the completion of the challenging chapters and the easy chapters, and you can create a roadmap for the entire year for yourself. Now again, this is very subjective because your learning appetite is different. Everyone has a different learning appetite. So you need to figure out what your learning appetite is. How long do you take to study a particular chapter? How long can you sit and study? Can you study for 7 hours straight? Can you study for 5 hours straight? Or can you finish the most challenging chapter in less than 7 hours or 8 hours? And all of this can be tested. You can figure this out by again spending 1 week and trying out different things. So keep 1 week, one particular day, study for 8 hours or 9 hours straight. Then you will get to know what is your appetite. Put yourself in a state where you are challenging yourself to finish an easy chapter in 3 hours. You already have the resources with you, because I've already told you to keep everything ready. You start off and see if you can finish the chapter in 3 hours. If you cannot, if you finished half your chapter, now that you know your study appetite is finishing the easiest chapter in 6 hours. If you finished in 2 hours, you know that your study appetite for finishing an easy chapter is 2 hours. So figure out your study appetite and assign 3 days or 4 days or 7 days for every lesson in every subject. The thing is, in classes, the teachers give notes, they take attendance, they clear doubts, they go through tests, and they might be late for a few classes. There are so many things that come into play, and that's the reason why they take 2 weeks or 3 weeks, sometimes even a month to finish a chapter. But when it's just you and just you just don't need all of these distractions. You don't come across all these distractions. You've got a YouTube video playlist ready for you. You just are by yourself in your room and no one else to disturb. And you just have the option to 1.25x or 1.5x the YouTube video and learn from that. And you definitely don't have anyone to recite notes for you and waste time, because you're making your own notes. So that way, you need to figure out your study appetite and plan the syllabus, plan your roadmap, keeping in mind your study appetite. Check out the website outofout.in. The website is made by me with love for you so that you score out of out in your exams and you score out of out academically and in life. This is it for the video. Thank you for watching. Like the video, share this video to your friends and make a roadmap with your friends and ensure that you guys follow it together so each and every one of you are accountable if someone goes off track or gets lazy. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for more such kind of videos on tips, tricks, vlogs, anything related to student life. So yeah, thank you for watching. You guys have an amazing day. I'll see you in the next video. Chalo. Bye.